Hi, today I'm gonna show you about how to import data from RDS to local file system using Nifi processors. So in order to do this, we have to have a RDS system up and running. And also you have to be a Nifi instance up and running. So we already have a video how to spin Nifi in this series using Docker image. Also, in this video, we're going to use about using a MariaDB Docker image as well for the RDS purpose. If you see here, my current setup has Nifi instance along with MariaDB Galera. So if you see here, I already inserted 3 rows in a table called EMP employees, which is Arvind, Madhu, and Arna. If I run select star from EMP, I have 3 records over here. So right now, we're going to pull these 3 records to a local system, which is Nifi instance using Nifi process. Let's explore about it. So let's create a process group and name it as RDS to local. Here is the process group. Click on the process group and then pull a process, type SQL, and here you can see 2 processes. One is ExecuteSQL, which says that execute provided SQL select query. The query results will be converted to Avro format by this processor itself. So if we use this processor, we're gonna get our query results in Avro format, and you have to convert the Avro format to the required destination format in order to get that information. However, there is also one more processor called ExecuteSQLRecord. If you click on this, you can say execute provided SQL select query. The query results will be converted to the format specified by the record writer. So here we're gonna use the record writer. Either it can be CSV or JSON, and we will get the results in the required format by specifying the record writer over here. So both can be used, but this is a advanced processor. So right now, let's see the difference. First, use the execute SQL. If I increase it a little bit, and then configure. If you click on the properties, here you see how to connect to the database. So the database connection pool service, I already have created a new service called MariaDB, or you can create a new service by clicking here in this button. But right now we already have a service, database connection pool, MariaDB. Let's click it and then click OK. And if you hover over it, it says go to. And if you click on go to, okay, I have to save this in order to go to that. I have saved it. So if I click on these settings and properties, you can see the details of MariaDB connection URL and the driver it need to be used and the driver location in the Nifi instance. So all I configured here, these are the required parameters that need to be configured. Even this is not required, only the bold one need to are the required ones. So those are all only the URL and class name. If you don't mention the location, it will go to the default location, the library location. But right now I configured it as vartemp MariaDB Java client jar. Click on OK, and I need to see whether it is enabled or disabled. Right now it is enabled. Let's go back to this execute SQL and configure properties. I'm going to use that database and then connection pool. And then I'm going to run a query, SQL select query here. I'm going to say select star from EMP. and click OK. And these are the required parameters. Everything I will leave as default for now, and then click on OK. If I hover on this error symbol, I can see relationship success and relationship failure. So I have to have a processor, destination processor to these relationships. So drag a processor, and then here we're going to write it to local. So I'm going to use put file as my destination, and then drag from here and make a connection from this. For success, I'm going to use this. And then if I, for failure, I'll log a message. Why did it got failed? Okay. And I give a relationship for failure here. Right now, this configuration is good. It's not showing any warnings. Here, this put file, it need to be mentioned with the directory name over here. That's a mandatory. And the relationships as well, I need to close it with appropriate ones. For now, I'm giving var temp as a directory which exists. And then click on relationships, and then on success, terminate, on failure, terminate, just for, or else for success, I can terminate, or else both success and terminate, I'll drag and log this to messages for success and failure. So right now, this process is also good. This for log messages, it can be terminate on success because everything will be logged for sure. So this is a simple flow. So if I start, run once, refresh, I got one output over here, and it is queued over here, which is successful. It retrieved and it is going to put file. If I start this put file, it also ran successfully and queued. There is a failure for sure because it went into the, okay, there is a, both I success and failure, I queued it to the log messages. It will be logged there. Let's start this. Right. So right now it just pulled this select, whatever the output of the select star from EMP, and it put in var temp of the Nifi instance. Let's go to the Nifi instance to check. Click on Nifi, execute, bash, cd show var temp. If you see here, a Nifi file will be placed here at just this timestamp, right? And if I click cat, this one, this will be in Avro format, and table is EMP, and then fields ID, name, and then if you see the values, these are the values that are stored. So we can convert before storing here, before storing it in our local system, we can convert that Avro format into any of the JSON or CSV format, and then we can write it to this. Let's do that modification. Let's stop this process. Stop this process. And before putting it into, let me delete it. Delete this link between ExecuteSQL to put file. And then add a process. Arrow to JSON, add, drag it from, drag connect here on success, and on failure. Already on failure, they have redirected to log message. And if I see here the successful put file, successful ones, and then for failure, I'll do the log message. Now let's run once, refresh. There is one queue to convert to JSON. Run once, refresh. There is a one queue to put file, and then start. refresh. There is one more that is placed in the log message queue, which means you can list there is one more file. This time when I cat this flow file, it has JSON formatted output of the employee table. So this is how we're going to use execute SQL. But if you want to use, let's stop all this process. If you want to use execute SQL record, add it. We're going to configure properties and then the same database connection pool, and then select the queries, select from EMP. And then for namesake, for simplify purpose, I don't use any error handling. We'll just use put file, configure, temps, terminate on success and failure. And this one, success and failure. So this process is good. There's no warnings, but this process has a warning says record writer is invalid. Let's see what that is. There is a property that we missed, which is a mandatory one. Here is the mandatory one, record writer, which is empty. Right now, I can select any of the record writer. For now, I have already set a record writer called CSV record writer. But if I can create a new record writer as well as JSON record writer or XML record writer, Avro record writer. But the default, I already used CSV record writer. Let's create a new record writer, JSON record writer, create it, and then apply it. Still, it says an error. The record writer validated against is invalid because controller service ID is disabled. So we have to enable the record writer. Let's go configure. Go to this record writer. And then if you see here, it's already disabled and we need to enable it. If you see here, it shows which processor it is being used by. And the scope of this record writer is just local to this RDS local processor group. Whereas the above one, the DB connection pool and the CSV record writer, they are scoped to Nifi flow, but this is scoped to only this processor group. So right now we don't have any errors or warnings over here. We are good. Just run once. Refresh. One is queued here, and then start. Refresh. It's done. The processor is done writing with to the local file system. I have a flow file here. Let's open it, and it should be a JSON file too. So I hope this is helpful to use execute SQL and execute SQL record. The difference between two is execute SQL will be defaultly output to Avro format, and we have to convert explicitly that Avro format to the required format that we need. Whereas execute SQL record will have a record writer where we can specify which record writer need to be used, and it automatically convert to that record format. And once that is extracted, we are putting simply to to a local file system using put file. But here we can do a multiple options over here. We can go through that in next video. We can put in HDFS, put in HBase, or put even in S3. We will look after those processor in the next tutorials. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye. Please subscribe to the channel.